Good morning. Today is the 6th of December and it's time for yet another very vague, not particularly interesting and probably quite irrelevant vlog. This time we are going to be talking about something that has happened over the last few weeks, actually over the last month it is now. And that is, why are both our old cars broken? So we have two old cars, a 2003 Rover 45 V6 and a 1998 Volvo C70 T5 Coupe. The reason why the Rover's broken is because one Tuesday in November, the 1st of November, I was driving exactly on this road at this time, and about here the car just totally died, just here, literally. I had to pull it up just on the side of a road, just there. And the automatic gearbox light came on, the car wouldn't restart. I had it taken up to my mother's house, where it's been sitting on the side of the road near where she lives, because her drive is a gravel drive with a big slope on it, and that's not really suitable for kind of jacking cars up or anything like that. So it's set on the side of the road. Since then it won't start, nothing. We changed the crankshaft collision sensor in it. That hasn't done anything, and we think it's the gearbox ECU. Now, it's not an unknown problem with these cars. The gearbox is very similar to the one in the Rover 75. It's a Jatco unit, which is also similar to the one in the Freelander at the time, the V6 Freelander. So we're just kind of waiting to organise the car to be transported up to Summit Garage in Dudley, who still have an MG Rover specialism. They're not, well, they're not an MG Rover franchise dealer, nobody is anymore, but they are an MG franchise dealer for the new MGs. But they also do work on these older cars, like stuff from the MG Rover era. The car's now approaching 20 years old, but they do have the equipment to program things like key fobs. They also will be able to use a T4 scanner to be able to program an ECU to the car, because you can't just put a gearbox ECU in it. If you can find a gearbox ECU with this gearbox, they're not exactly the same as a 75 gearbox, because it's got a sort of a manual control mode, which the 75 doesn't have. So we're hoping to find an ECU for the gearbox and then to program it. So I've got a quote from the transport company already to get it taken up there. I'll get another one, I think, just to be on the safe side, to sort of work out exactly if that is a good deal or not, because that's the best thing to do. And we will then see what happens, and hopefully they can program the gearbox and give it an MOT, and then that should be it. Should be okay. We are intending actually to not use the car very much after that. We'll put that car probably on my mother's drive, and we will probably use the Volvo or the Mercedes. I'm in the Mercedes today because it's working, and I should be using this car because it's 5.5 years old. It's done 23,000 miles. My mother's had it from new. She can't drive anymore, and it's principally for long trips, which is the one I'm doing tomorrow, to Summit Garage in Dudley to film. I think we're doing 6 cars over the course of a few days, both really old and really new, so that'll be fun. So I'll be using this. I was going to use the Rover because Mr. Coleman, Roche Mechanic, was going to service it for me, and then his uncle was going to do me an MOT, like, you know, we have done over the last few years with that car. I have the service parts, they're in the boot, but of course, because the car won't start, I can't take it up to him after I finish in Dudley, so we're taking this. I will get better fuel economy though, and it's a bit more practical for Mr. Franks to put his photography equipment in the boot for filming project reviews. So yes, we'll have a word with them when I get to Summit Garage over the next few days, and we'll see, if I can book it in. I think that's the best thing to do. There are other people I could probably use for it, but because Summit Garage, they obviously have a guarantee on repairs and things like that, and they've got all the equipment, so we're not taking any chances here. We're going to take it to places I've actually used myself before. They programmed the key fob for the car when I first got it, so probably one of the best places to sort of go just for this particular thing. And my mother's very kindly agreed to pay for it for me, so you know it might actually be reasonably expensive. I hope it won't be, but because the car literally broke down on the way to take her to her appointment that she goes to every week, and I'm on the way there right now as well, then you know, that's what she's agreed to do. She's very kind of her. The Volvo, actually, we picked up the day after the Rover broke down, so I've never had in my ownership both those cars working together. That's why the photographs of them together are very limited. We don't detect too many because literally just two cars on the side of the road. We can't move the Rover at the moment because it doesn't start. So that has been generally okay. It's had a cam belt and a service. It had that quite early on. I quite literally sort of drove it up to the NEC and then didn't use it for a few days while Mr. Coleman was still working his magic on it. So it's had a cam belt, had a service, and yeah, he said it was all sort of fine for the time being. I've also released a separate video on my channel which you already would have seen, detailing what's happened in the first approximately 1,300 miles of ownership, which was actually just the first month, which is crazy. Picking up on the 2nd of November, the report was done on the 3rd of December. And that's developed quite a bad oil leak. Now, T5 Volvos on this platform, the P80 platform, are known for oil leaks. It's just the way that it is. If you watch the Jeff Buys Cars channel, Mr. Hunter recently took his 850 T5 to Lister's Volvo in Worcester to have it inspected for a health check by a lady mechanic who works there, and the oil leaks are prodigious. They just are. Mine are also prodigious, but they're in a slightly different place. We've got one coming from the dipstick tube. We have to replace that. There's one coming from where the distributor goes out the side of the engine, and the cam cover gasket, we think at the back, is actually leaking because the engine's canted over backwards slightly, so that's why it's leaking on that side rather than at the front, because that's obviously where it's slightly down. There probably are other oil leaks as well. Well, actually, I hope there aren't any. There might be some more, but the car has used 2 litres of oil since the service. That's about maybe a month and 1,000 miles it's used all that, so we need to get to the source of that. Unfortunately, Mr. Coleman has agreed to look at it for me, being an expert on P80 Volvos and generally white block engine Volvos. He's the best person probably to deal with that. But what we can't do is send that one up and without the Rover being fixed. So our plan at the moment is to send the Rover up to Summit Garage, have them fix it hopefully, and then I will go and pick it up. I'll bring the Volvo to Mr. Coleman. He'll take me over to Summit Garage in something. It's not leaking oil probably, and then I'll bring the Rover back, and hopefully that is actually before the end of the year. Now I don't know at the moment whether it will be. I couldn't really say. It's one of these things. We don't know until both these cars are inspected more thoroughly as to what exactly the problems are. We think we know, but we don't. You know, we have contingency plans if one of these turns up to be not economical to repair. Let's just hope it doesn't happen. We do have contingency plans for that. I hope I'm talking about that particularly. This isn't the Hub Not a Furious Driving channel. We aren't known for having, you know, spectacular failures of multiple cars at the same time, much as some of you like watching that kind of stuff, and it can be very thrilling. That's not really what the channel's about, so it's a bit of a strange situation for me to be in, to tell you this sort of thing. But anyway, those of you who are on the Rover 45 V6 and Seat Toledo channel membership tiers, you'll be seeing this video around the day it is recorded. The rest of you will see this a few weeks later. Hopefully by the time that most of you see this, we will have fixed these problems. But you know, it's just old cars for you. Both of them didn't cost a lot of money, so it's not really surprising, with one being 19 years old, the other 24. This is the kind of thing that happens. But thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel for maybe less drama in the next very vlog. Like this, leave a comment below, but that's all very much appreciated. And we shall see you again soon for more inaccurate rambling. Lloyd Young Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below.